Now, you know you're going to have to interview for a scholarship, for a new position, or whatever, right? For that dream job. Well, this next speaker is going to be very critical to everything that's big in your life. You want to make sure you pay attention to Miss Tamra Nashman.
How you doing? And that's what happened to me. My very first interview with one of the biggest clients in the world, Bud Dry for Anheuser-Busch. I walked across the room to shake hands with the executive, and I tripped on my new shoes, and I went flying, and I landed right on my face at the feet of the Bud Dry executive. Yeah. And I just laid there like I am right now. And nobody said a word. And finally, I stuck my head up and I said, "Hey there, how y'all doing today?" And some really nice guy came over and helped me up. I brushed off my clothes. I straightened up my blouse and I smoothed my hair and I said this: "Well, one thing's for sure. If you hire me, you'll never have a dull moment." How many of you'd like to have a job when you get out of school? Or you'd like to have a job while you're still in school? How about some quick, easy tips that will guarantee that you get hired? I have a lot of experience interviewing with some of the biggest clients in the world. In fact, I've done close to 300 interviews in my media career. And I really learned a lot during all those interviews that I can bring to your school and help you. And when I come to your school, I'm going to give you the 5 secrets for the successful interview, and I'm going to teach you how to upset that interview, to dress for success, and to get the job of your dreams. How does that sound? But for right now, who would like to hear what happened to the rest of that Bud Dry interview when I fell on my face? Well, I'm going to tell you, I really thought they were just going to boot me right out of the room. I didn't think for 1 minute they'd let me go ahead and have an interview. Because, you know, who would? But I think they were wondering if I had any more comedy routines up my sleeve. So they kept me in, and I can't remember the first question they asked me because I was so nervous. You know how nervous you are your first interview? It's terrible. But I did all right. He asked me my first question, and I must have answered it okay because it was met with a big smile and lots of affirmation. He said, "Great job, good, that's good." So he went on to the next question, the next, and the next, and each one was met with a nice big smile and, "Oh, good job, yeah, thanks very much." And I left the room that day feeling pretty confident I'd gotten the job. And you know what? I didn't. Nope. In fact, I didn't get hardly any of the jobs I interviewed for those first few weeks of interviewing. I heard so many no's, I began to wonder what it was that people didn't like about me. And I thought about my mom. Now, we always think about mom and things aren't going right, don't we? We do. And I can remember as a child, I used to follow my mother around, and she worked in a nursing home. She took care of 150 patients in that nursing home, and she knew every patient by name. She knew what they liked to eat, what they didn't. She knew who all the relatives were that came to visit them. She gave them their baths. She gave them their medicines. And she sat by their bedside and prayed with them and held their hand when they passed away. And this is what I remember about my mother. It really wasn't what she did. It was how she did it. She really cared about every single person she took care of. And they felt that. They knew that. She authentically cared about them from her heart. And I realized this is what I was missing in my interview. I wasn't being real. I wasn't being who I was. I was being who I thought the client wanted me to be. I put on an act, a persona. I was being an on-camera talent, a model. I wasn't being who I was. And when I put all that away, and I started to become Tamra, I've been real, authentic, then everything changed. I started to get 8 out of every 10 interviews I went for. My whole life turned around, as well as my income. What is an interview? Can somebody just shout out what you think it is? Tell me quick. What do you think? Great. Another one.
First impression.
First impression. That's good. I like that. I'll tell you what I think it is. I think an interview is a quick judgment of your ability. It's a quick judgment of who you are. When you came in here today, if you sat down by somebody you didn't know and you started chatting them up, did you know that's an interview? If you ask somebody out on a date, or you go to rent an apartment or buy a car, you go for an RA position or a scholarship, do you know all of those? Every one of those are interviews. Did you know that? How many of you have gone into your career centers to get information on interviews and jobs? How many? I know some of you have. Well, what if that information that you go in to check for isn't exactly right? Maybe it's not completely accurate. Maybe it's just missing a few things. Then you're locked out. You don't have all the information that you need to get that job. It would be like having the numbers for a telephone call, but you're missing the last 2 digits. Could you get a hold of the person that you're trying to reach? I don't think so. Well, that's how it is with interviewing. If you don't have the right tools to know how to interview, then you're not going to get that job that you want or need. Now, no job, no money. You're not going to get that RA position that you need with a free room and board or that scholarship. Your resume will be all jacked up because you didn't have all the numbers for the call. What if the information that you thought was right for that interview was wrong? Now, when I come to your school, I'm going to give you the 5 secrets to the successful interview. I'm going to tell you how to upset that interview to dress for success and get that job of your dreams. But today, I'm going to give you the first secret. Do you want to know what it is? Yep. You do? Yeah. Great. Tell your story. Tell your story. Did you know everybody has a story? Everybody has a life experience that shaped them, that's made you who you are, that's brought you to the point you are today, that's developed your character and integrity in some way. You all have a story. If you tell your story, you can put you in the interview and make a personal, intimate connection. You know my story about blood drawing when I came here and I fell on my face? Or the story about my mom in the nursing home following her around as a child? I can take those stories and I can put them in the interview process so that I can make a connection with the interviewer that they won't forget. Do you believe I can do that? Yeah. I'm so glad you do. All right, let's put me in the hot seat just for a minute. I'll bring the hot seat over here. Oh, it is hot. Great. And what I want you to do is ask me a question. Like a real question that you've been asked in an interview, and then I'll show you how I can put those stories in the interview, and whoever asks me a question, then you're going to get a free copy of my book, 5 Secrets to the Successful Interview. Now, I need a real one, not something silly, okay? Good. Why did I apply for this job, she asked. Good question, thank you. Well, I applied for this job because I researched your company, and I found out that this is a company of honesty and integrity. And when I was growing up as a child, I grew up watching my mother take care of 150 patients in a nursing home. And she cared for each one of them, knew all of them by name, bathed them, fed them, and sat by their bed when they passed away. And what I gleaned from that is the necessity of honesty, integrity, and truthfulness. And these are characteristics that I've seen prevalent in your company. The way you treat your employees, the way you put a great product out for the consumer. And that's why I want to be part of such a great company, because we have the same integrity at heart. You can do that. Somebody else.
Okay. What sets you apart from the other applicants?
What sets me apart from the other applicants? Well, at one time in my life, I was going in to interview for a company that was very similar to yours in size and magnitude. And I walked across the room to shake hands with the person I was supposed to interview, and I fell right on my face. I tripped on my shoes and fell right at his feet. And I lay there. I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to do. And I finally got up, brushed myself off, and I went on, and I gave the best interview of my life. And I'm going to tell you something. I am a person who will rise to any challenge. Nothing will keep me down. I'll always put my best foot forward and give you the best job anyone could ever give you. And that's why I want to be part of the company.